So, the things I'm about to mention in this video do contain spoilers, inside information about Pokemon Go that you may not want to know if you like to find out the updates as they happen. The information I'm about to talk about is all hidden within the in-game files and has been updated in the game since the recent update this week, which allows you to mass transfer Pokemon. We're going to be talking about a lot of very exciting things, but I just want to pre-warn you guys that if you don't want any spoilers, don't watch this video. I'm sure most of you guys are just excited for it, but I just wanted to be careful. So guys, today we're going to be talking about updates that are going to be coming to Pokemon Go, including new Pokemon, new customization options, shiny Pokemon, baby Pokemon, so much crazy stuff. If you guys don't know already, on Monday, the 12th of December, we're getting an official update from the guys at Pokemon Go, letting us know what is happening with brand new Pokemon coming, supposedly this month, December, Gen 2 to Pokemon Go. So stay tuned for that. But for the moment, let's talk about some of the in-game file updates that give us access to information that is very exciting. So guys, let's dive into this. A huge shout out to the guys over on Silph Road who have done all the digging into the files to find out all of this information, and there was a lot of information. Like, it kind of shocked me. As much as I love Pokemon Go, I know that Niantic, the guys who developed the app, are slow at updating things. And when I actually hear and find out that things are in the game that I've always wanted, it kind of, I just get so apprehensive. I'm like, please actually happen. So obviously the big question at the moment is, on Monday, we're going to get that announcement to do with new Pokemon in Pokemon Go. Is it Legendaries? Is it Gen 2? This one was confirmed 100%. It is going to be Generation 2 as we kick it off with one of many of the updates within the game. So as I said, this was linked in with the update that allows you to mass transfer Pokemon. All of these little files are hidden away, and like programmers and codes have to go in to actually find them to see what has changed in the Pokemon Go app. So first of all, sound files have been found for the next 100 Pokemon. All we had up until this point was simply name updates in the game files, but sound updates mean that all of Generation 2, so from 152 to 251, now have their own sound within the game, which means that they are very much ready, apart from one thing which we'll talk about actually in a second. They're very much ready for the introduction of Generation 2 into Pokemon Go, which is absolutely crazy. I always mention in every video, I'm a huge fan of Generation 2 Pokemon. I played Gold and Silver to death, and this is just going to be absolutely awesome, assuming that on Monday, this announcement is exactly to Generation 2. So, there's one thing that holds things back a little bit when it comes to the update of Generation 2 Pokemon. So, for Ditto to be introduced into the game, it's simply a server-side update, which means that you don't have to physically update your game to get the Pokemon to appear out in the wild. All Niantic have to do is change the servers to let those new Pokemon spawn in, which is what happened with Ditto, which you can catch obviously through the Pidgeys, the Zubats, all the basic Pokemon. But for this to happen with Generation 2 Pokemon, one thing is missing, and that is movesets and moves. So unless they're going to be using all the moves that are currently in the game for Generation 1 Pokemon, we still need a move update list within the game to allow the Generation 2 Pokemon to have the correct movesets to be allowed to be used in the Pokemon Go app. That's the only thing that we're still waiting on. But as I said, they could just use all the moves from Generation 1 and not add anything extra in, but you definitely would expect some new moves with new Pokemon to come in with Generation 2. That's the only thing holding us back, guys, but sound files are in the game and it's very exciting. Even more to do with Generation 2 is Pokemon genders. There has been the term gender being used within the coding of Pokemon Go for both male and female, and this basically links in with the fact that breeding is very much going to be something which will be needed or introduced soon, and has even been talked about for Pokemon Go, especially for Generation 2, when you've got baby Pokemon, which is also something we're going to talk about in a little bit as well. Baby Pokemon are obviously bred between a Ditto, a Pokemon that you want to breed, or a male and a female Pokemon that you want to breed together to get a baby version. If there aren't male and female typings, breeding isn't really possible between two Pokemon that are the same, because they're just genderless. It doesn't make sense. So with the introduction of breeding, we need genders. So the fact that genders is being talked about and added into the game is exciting, because breeding is something that could be very much on the horizon alongside Generation 2 Pokemon. Now, this is the one that gets me buzzing. Like, this would bring so many people back to the game potentially, and would mean that even if you're like playing it casually on the side or even play it a lot, you'll play it more. Shiny Pokemon. In the Pokemon games, it's about a 1 in 8,000 chance, although the newer ones is reduced to 1 in 4,000, and you can do certain things to make that chance go even smaller, but basically a very small chance to get a shiny Pokemon, which is a color palette change for Pokemon in the game. This is something I've always wanted in Pokemon Go, because you could go ahead and capture 4,000 Pidgeys, and the 4,000th one could be a shiny one, and you could be playing the game for years, and that is still something so special and very much hard to obtain, which would be amazing to have in Pokemon Go. So in the files, there is actually announcement sound files for special shiny Pokemon, and also the ability for a different type of 3D modeling for all the Pokemon. So obviously that would allow for the different color change that is associated with shiny Pokemon. Now this just gets me so excited, because as I said, even the most basic of Pokemon captures, from a Pidgey to a Zubat all the way up to like a Dragonite, has a chance of offering those crazy shiny palettes. If you put it in a gym, everyone will be so amazed. If you capture it, you should be amazed. And this is one thing that I really like, apart from Generation 2, to come as soon as possible into Pokemon Go. If it does, keep your eye out for those Pokemon that look a little bit different, because shiny Pokemon are so rare. Now, this next update isn't the biggest thing in the world, because you probably have not even touched it in months. I know I certainly haven't. But avatar customization. There's now coding in the game for different categories, and additional customization option for your character, including hair, shirt, pants, hat, shoes, eyes, and backpack. On top of that, the wording for new, sale, purchasable, and unlockable has been included within the character avatar customization option. So not the biggest thing in the world, but it'd still be cool to make your character look a little bit more unique, a little bit more like you, because at the moment there isn't too much going on in that way. If there's anything specific you thought would be quite cool for the avatar customization, let me know down below as we move on to the next point, which is again all to do with breeding and all to do with the gender thing, which is very specific to Generation 2, which is baby Pokemon. So, as you guys know, you've got the buddy system in Pokemon Go. At the moment, most of them stand by you, right? The big ones, the small ones, unless they pop onto your shoulder, or unless they're flying in the air behind you. So those are the only positions you've got at the moment. However, a new position for the buddy Pokemon have been added in, listed as baby. Now, it doesn't say or reference exactly where this is going to be in the character. I'd assume you'd hold it, because the baby Pokemon are freaking tiny, cute, and adorable. But it means that not only they've got male and female Pokemon getting ready for the potential of breeding, the egg Pokemon which will hatch the baby Pokemon, but the baby Pokemon have their own unique position when in the buddy format, when you're obviously walking them and trying to get more candies for them, which is very cool indeed. All this stuff is just gonna, I mean, it's gonna be a new game. If Generation 2, breeding baby Pokemon and shiny Pokemon all come out at the same time, like, it is going to be bigger than the launch. I swear down, it's going to be mad. I'm going to be playing it every second I'm awake. It's nuts. But that's not all that we have got, my friends. On top of that, something which is a little bit weird, a little bit unique. We've got Pokemon costumes. Now, I told you we'd be talking about things that are almost spoiler-like, and one of these costumes is referred to as holiday, which would make sense for the Christmas holidays, right? If they're going to introduce the very first Pokemon costume as being a holiday themed one, maybe it's like Santa Claus or reindeer or just something like snowy themed to do with the winter holidays, that is something that you can actually change what your Pokemon, not yourself, your Pokemon will be wearing, which is very interesting. Apparently it has its own collision physics as well, which means that like in gym battles and such, and potentially even in wild encounters, the Pokemon could have the ability to wear these costumes. Maybe that's how you get them. Maybe you have to capture a Pokemon wearing the costume, because obviously when you throw a Pokeball at a Pokemon, it bounces off it. That's all using in-game physics. When you're in a Pokemon battle and you're fighting each other, it's also using physics in terms of how you get hit back, etc. So this is properly coded into the game. At the moment, only one known costume is available, but I'm sure if it's a success, we can see more and more of these costumes being available to Pokemon in Pokemon Go. Now, one thing that I mentioned at the beginning is the fact that there's no new moves in line with the addition of Generation 2 Pokemon, which is a little bit like, maybe it's just the last thing they're going to add, you know what I mean, just before the update rolls out. And it's looking 100% or 99.99999% sure that the update on Monday will be announcing the fact that Generation 2 Pokemon will be coming at some point in the future, most likely like in December, in this month right now. So that's the only thing holding them back, and probably be the last thing they do before they roll out Generation 2. On top of that, an interesting change for those of you guys that like to know how the game works is the fact that the Pokemon sprites are now no longer stored in-game, but are now stored on server side. So, you know how I mentioned earlier how if they want to add a new Pokemon, they can just do it via a server update, which means you could be looking at your phone, you could close it, open it up again, a new Pokemon could be available without physically updating it. Well, all of that information in terms of the Pokemon sprites has all been put onto server side as well, which links in with the fact of Generation 2 being able to be added without having this huge sprite update to your game, and also links into shiny Pokemon as well, because obviously they all have different color palettes and different sprites for their own colors as well. It basically means that Niantic can do a big server side change without everyone having to do a massive update on their phone to allow all of these things, shiny, baby Pokemon, Generation 2, costumes, etc, to be added into the game very seamlessly. Now, Niantic have gone on record and said that they want to continually update the game, continually add new Pokemon, and Generation 2 could just be the start of more and more generations to come. I played a lot of Ruby and Sapphire. I mean, I played every single Pokemon game, right? But just the idea of there being like 500, 600, 700 Pokemon in Pokemon Go is pretty nuts. But for the moment, we're just focusing on next week and the addition of Generation 2. So to summarize, Generation 2 now have sound files, which means we are very close to them being added in, but are lacking movesets at the moment and their own moves. Genders have been found within the game for male and female. Shiny Pokemon variants, which are just nuts. If you're big into shiny Pokemon, let me know your favorite shiny Pokemon palette down below, because I love them. Avatar customization coming as well. A baby position within the buddy Pokemon system. And on top of that, you're also going to be getting costumes for Pokemon as well. So I think this is the biggest update video I've ever done in terms of huge changes that are in the works and already behind the scenes in the update files of the apps, looking forward into the future. And obviously, as we get more official information, I'll let you guys know right here on the channel. So wait until Monday, my friends, as we talk about what this update is going to be all about for Pokemon Go. And stay tuned as Shiny, Baby, Gen 2, oh my gosh, it is nuts, will probably be coming at some point very soon in the future. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Give this video a big fat thumbs up if you're excited for all of this news. Stay tuned to Monday where I'll see you right here on the channel, and I'll see you guys then.